Hello, my name is Rajan Surani and I am a software developer at Video SDK.live. Today we will be building an interactive live streaming app in Flutter using Video SDK. But it is important to know what is live streaming. If you are a teacher or a musician or an artist, it's quite often that you want to interact with your audience, right? So the best way to interact with an audience is to do a live stream where you broadcast your audio and video to your viewers. This is usually done using a popular protocol named HTTP live streaming, which is used by apps like Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, etc. In order to bring that experience to your viewers on your own platform, Video SDK provides a whole bunch of setup with which you can reliably live stream your video and audio to up 10,000 users at a time, and you can also interact with your audience using chat, poll, reactions, and have the feature to invite your viewers on your live stream. Video SDK provides a very easy to use APIs and tools where you don't have to worry about the infrastructure required for the interactive live streaming. To get started with building a Flutter application for interactive live streaming with Video SDK, head over to docs.videosdk.live and go to Flutter documentation, and there you would find a quick start guide for interactive live streaming. So before getting started, there are a few prerequisites, like you should have an Video SDK account, you should have some basic understanding of Flutter, and also have the device set up to develop an app for Flutter. So let's directly get started by creating a new Flutter application. So I will just copy it from here to the terminal and create a new Flutter app. Once the Flutter app is created, let's just open it in one of the code editor. Okay, now that our Flutter app is open in code editor, let's install Video SDK by running flutter pub add Video SDK. We will also need HTTP library to make API calls to Video SDK for creating a room. So let's add that as well. And we will also be needing a video player for our HLS stream, our live stream that we will be playing on the viewer side. So let's add a package for that as well. Now that our packages are installed, let's just do a flutter pub get and make sure all our dependencies are included. So we will be having three screens. First will be the joining screen, where you will have a create meeting option or join a meeting as a host option for the speaker, and a join meeting as a viewer for the viewers of your app, and an input for the meeting ID. If a user joins as a speaker, he would be redirected to a speaker screen, which will show the video and audio of the speakers, and as well as provide them option to start the live stream, stop the live stream, and toggle their own camera and webcam. Whereas on the viewer side, there would just be a simple live stream player through which they would be able to see the speaker. So let's just configure our project for the setup of Video SDK. So first of all, we need to add these permissions in Android manifest. So let's just open Android manifest.xml file and add the permissions over here. These are the permissions which will be required to access the camera, audio as well as internet and some other permissions. We will have to make sure that the app is using Java version 8, which is required. Okay, so here it is. It's already using Java 8, so we don't have to update anything here. And let's also make sure that the minimum SDK version is set to 23. So we will update the same over here. We will set it to 23 and the compile SDK version to 31. We also need to add the same permissions for our iOS app. So let's just copy this and add it into the info playlist. Video SDK requires minimum iOS versions 12. So let's just comment this line in our pod file and change it to 12. Now that the project is set up, let's just give it a test run. Okay, looks like the app is already running. So let's get started with the further setup for the app. So first of all, we will be needing to create a room. So for that, we will have to create an HTTP request to this API to create a new room. So let's add this code to our app. So I would be creating a new file under the lib named API underscore call dot, and I would be pasting my code over here. So as you can see, you have to generate a token for this. So in order to generate a token, go to Video SDK dashboard. Here you would see your API key. Click on this generate token button. Select an expiry time of any time you want. Click next and you would see a token over here. So copy this token and replace it with this line, and with this our API call has been set up completely. So let's move on to the tutorial. Next step is creating the joining screen. So for this, we will be creating a join screen.dart file, which will contain our widget join screen, which will have 3 buttons and an input for meeting ID. When clicked those buttons, we will make the user join a room either in conference mode or in a viewer mode as the user selects. So let's create this file. Let's create a stateless widget here named join screen. Now let's add the buttons and text field in it. So now we need to create these 2 methods, on create button press and on join button press, which will redirect the user with the meeting ID to join the room. So let's just copy these 2 methods. let's complete out the imports. This is the method that we wrote earlier to create an HTTP request, and then we will be redirecting to this widget. So let's just create this widget so we can get rid of the error. This would be a stateful widget named ILS screen. This will accept two things: meeting ID and a token. With this, since we forgot the mode, so let's add mode as well. It will define which mode the user will be joining the meeting. With this, we should have all the errors gone. Yep. Let's update the main.dart file to join screen and remove out this widget, which is not anymore necessary. Let's save this and see if yes, our meeting screen is ready and we are able to input a meeting ID as well. The third step is to create the ILS screen. So we have already created the stateful widget. Now let's get started by creating a new room in this widget. So let's first declare this room. Then we will initialize the room using the meeting ID token and the mode that was provided. Then we will set up the meeting event listeners, which will allow us to listen to anything happening in the meeting. Let's say the user has successfully joined the meeting or user has left the meeting. So for this, we will add these listeners. We will take a state is joined, which will help us identify if the user has already joined the meeting or he is yet to be joined. So initially it would be false, and we will turn it to true once the meeting has been joined and we receive an event on room joined as well. Let's complete the import. Yes. The next step would be joining the room itself. So we will be calling the room.join method once our event listeners are set up. This the room joining has been completed. So until and unless the room has not been joined, we will show a text name joining, and after that we will show user the UI. If he is a speaker, then we will be showing him this widget. If he is a viewer, then we will be showing him this widget. So let's add this code. If a back button is pressed, we will just leave the room. Let's create this two widgets. It would be a stateful widget. And it will take the room as parameter in its constructor. Next we create a viewer widget. Same way it would accept the room object. So with this the room is completed. So let's just give it a dry run by creating a meeting. So it says joining, and within a few seconds it should show a blank screen because we haven't implemented the UI for any of our views yet, let be it speaker view or viewer view. Since we are joining in speaker view right now, so it's asking for us the permissions, and here is the placeholder that is present in our view. Let's start by creating the ILS speaker view in next step. So for speaker view we need total two things. First would be the grid tile that would be showing the participants view, and a meeting controls component which will have toggle mic, toggle camera, and start stop HLS functionality. So let's get started with it. First we will create the participant view, which would be a file which would be present inside this file. So let's create a new participant tile. It would be a stateful widget. It would be a stateful widget named participant tile, and it would accept the participants object as a parameter. Next step would be we will initialize the video streams if they are present. We will add the stream listeners to listen if participants we will add a stream listener to listen to the events if participants audio or video is getting turned on or off, and we will use them to get the new stream values. And then finally we will render the view. With this, our participant tile is ready. Now let's create the meeting controls component. It's a simple stateless widget with 3 buttons in it, which will call the callbacks which are passed in it. So let's just copy this and create the component. So here you can see we have 3 buttons and 3 callbacks which are being passed here, which will be called when respective button is clicked, and an HLS state of the current meeting, the live stream state, which we will be using to show proper messaging. Let's say if the state is stopped, we will show them start HLS message. If it's in starting state, we will show them starting HLS. If the HLS has already started, then we will show them stop HLS, and if it's stopping, then we will show stopping HLS. So let's next implement all these two widgets that we made, that is participant tile and meeting controller, and add it to our speaker view. So for that, we will just take these states, which will define the current state of local participants audio and video, as well as the HLS, and this will store a list of current participants that are present inside the meeting. Let's initialize this state first. We will iterate over the participants list from the room object. Here we will iterate over the participants list and add it to our list if they are in conference mode, so that we are only showing the participants which are speaker. We will also initialize HLS state, and we will add event listeners for participant. Whenever new participant join, a participant has already left, or the state of the HLS gets changed. So we will add this listener. We will add these listeners over here, and finally we will show the components that we created. Let's just import them. So this row over here is rendering the meeting ID of the joint meeting, a button to copy the meeting ID, and a button to leave the meeting. For leaving, we will use the room object's leave method. Then next we are showing the current HLS state to the user. Here we are rendering the participants tile that we had seen just now, and then there is the meeting controls, where we are calling the mute mic, unmute mic methods based on what is the current state of mic. Then we are calling disable or enable method for camera, and here is the method which we will be calling for starting and stopping of HLS. So with this, let's just give our app a test run. We will create a new meeting. And here you can see here is our participant style, and we can toggle the camera, we can toggle the mic, and we can start or stop the live streaming as well. So you can see here the live stream is currently starting, and now it has started. So now with this, our speaker view is completed. Now let's create the viewer view. With our speaker view implemented, let's get started implementing the viewer view, where we will be showing the HLS stream by using the Flutter VLC player package. So for this we will be needing the HLS state and the downstream URL through which we will be playing the HLS stream. So let's just declare these states in our widget and initialize them. We will also need to listen to the meeting events from where we will get the downstream URL. This is the event that will give us the downstream URL named HLS state change. So whenever the state is HLS playable, so that means that the live stream has started and it's in a state where we can play the stream. At that moment we will add the downstream URL in our state. If a downstream URL is not present, we will show a placeholder saying that host has not started the live stream yet, and once the live stream starts we will show them a player with it. So let's just copy this code and replace it with our placeholder. Let's create this player widget first. So we will create a new live stream player dart file and create a new stateful widget in it named live stream player. This live stream player will receive a string named downstream URL, which we will use to play the stream. Let's import this. Okay, now that we have shown the simple state, now let's just implement the live stream player that we need to play the stream. So we will add a mixin with it, which will keep our with player and app alive when the video is being played. We need to always keep it alive whenever this widget is alive, so we will add this want to keep alive and it will always return true. Next we will declare a controller, VLC player controller, and we will initialize its state with our downstream URL. We will import the VLC player and we will add the player as our widget. It will show a 19:16 aspect ratio of video, and it will have a circular progress indicator until and unless the stream has been loaded for playing. So with our viewer view implemented, let's just give it a test run. Let's create a new meeting here where we are joining as a conference participant, as a speaker. Here we will be joining as a viewer. Okay, so as you can see, we are already joined and it says host has not started the HLS yet. So let's just start it now. It's saying starting HLS. And it has converted to started. So here we have the video that the live stream has started. So as you can see, our simple interactive live streaming app has been ready. To see what more functionalities you can add, just go through a Flutter documentation and you would be amazed to see what the Video SDK can do for you. Thank you very much.